Welcome back to our deep dive. We sift through the data so you get the essence.
That's the plan.
Today, we're getting into the weeds on the global wavefront sensor market. Think of this as your quick guide to a really interesting and, well, growing field.
Exactly. We've been looking at a pretty detailed market report. Our mission here is to pull out the core insights for you. What's the market size now? Where's it heading in, say, the next decade or so? And crucially, what's pushing that growth in different places and for different uses?
Right. Wavefront sensors. They sound pretty technical, but they're popping up more and more, aren't they? Helping with everything from clearer vision to better telescope.
They really are. Very versatile technology.
So let's start big picture. What's the market actually worth right now, globally speaking? And what's the forecast look like?
Okay, so the report estimates the global market for 2025 at around $581.9 million US dollars.
Okay, $500 million roughly.
Yeah, roughly. But what's really eye-catching is the growth projection. By 2033, it's expected to hit, get this, $2,709.38 million.
Wow, wait, so over 2.7 billion.
Exactly. That's a compound annual growth rate, or AGR, of 21.2% between 2025 and 2033.
That's pretty explosive growth. What's the main thing driving that kind of acceleration?
Well, the report singles out one major factor: the rising number of people globally dealing with vision impairments.
Ah, okay.
As the need for better vision correction, better diagnostic tools grows, so does the demand for this kind of tech. These sensors, they give incredibly precise measurements of imperfections in the eye's optics.
Right, so it allows for much more tailored treatments and diagnoses.
Precisely. It leads to more accurate diagnoses, more effective treatments, things like custom LASIK.
Makes total sense. It's not just about needing glasses, it's about understanding vision on a much finer level. Okay, so let's break it down geographically. Where's the biggest chunk of that market today?
Right now, North America is the leader. They hold over 40% of the global revenue.
40%, okay.
For 2025, their market size is estimated at about $215.3 million. And they're expected to grow pretty steadily, too, a CAGR of 19.5%, reaching almost $895 million by 2033.
That's a commanding share.
Yeah.
What's giving North America that edge? Is it just early adoption?
It's a mix of things, really. The report mentions strong demand for advanced ophthalmic diagnostics, eye tests, also a rise in refractive errors, needing glasses or contacts, and just generally more use of these sensors in medical imaging overall.
And the U.S. market specifically.
Yeah, the U.S. is the giant within that, obviously. Yeah. About 170 million in 2025. Canada's around 26 million, Mexico nearly 20 million. All showing good growth rates, around 19-20% CAGR.
Okay, so established healthcare, tech adoption. That explains North America. What about Europe? How do they stack up?
Europe's also a major player. They account for over 30% of the global revenue.
Right.
Market size in 2025 is pegged at around $168.75 million. And their growth projection is strong, too, a CAGR of about 20.1%, pushing them towards $731.5 million by 2033.
So similar growth rate to North America, essentially?
Pretty close, yeah.
And what's driving it there? Similar factors.
Similar, but maybe with slightly different emphasis. The report highlights advancements in ophthalmology, of course, but also the increasing use of adaptive optics.
Ah, yes, the tech that corrects distortions in real time, like for telescopes.
Exactly, but it's used in other optical systems too, like microscopy. Also, big drivers are laser beam diagnostics, analyzing laser quality, and just that high demand for really precise vision correction.
Within Europe. Any specific countries leading the charge?
Yeah, the report breaks it down. The UK is looking at about 28 million in 2025 with a nearly 21% CAGR. Germany's even bigger, over 33 million, 20.3% CAGR. France, Russia, also significant contributors.
Okay, so strong healthcare and tech focus in Europe, too. Now, Asia-Pacific, we often hear about rapid growth there. Does that hold true for wavefront sensors?
Oh, absolutely. APAC currently holds around 23% of the global revenue, so that's about $139.66 million for 2025. But here's the kicker. Their projected CAGR is 24.3%. That's the highest of all the regions.
Wow.
They're expected to reach almost $795.2 million by 2033, potentially overtaking Europe in market size if that trend holds.
24.3%. That's really accelerating. What's fueling that kind of expansion in APAC?
It's a wider spread of applications taking off there. Ophthalmology, yes, but also big adoption in astronomy and in industries using high-precision lasers. Plus, there's growing demand for advanced optical components in their defense and aerospace sectors.
Which countries are key there? China, I assume?
China's definitely a major force, around 58.6 million in 2025, with the CGR near 24%. But Japan, India, South Korea are also showing very strong growth. India's CGR is projected over 26%, actually.
Incredible. So a really dynamic region. What about the other areas, South America, Middle East, Africa? Smaller shares now, but are they growing?
They are, and quite rapidly too, actually. South America has over 5% share, about $22 million in 2025, but with a 22% CAGR projected. The Middle East is smaller, around 2% share, maybe $23 million, but their CAGR is even higher, almost 23%. And Africa, while starting from the smallest base, about 1% share, nearly $13 million is projected to grow at 21.5% CAGR.
So even the smaller regions have really significant growth rates, all above 20%.
Exactly. It shows this technology is becoming globally relevant.
What's driving it in those regions? Similar things again.
Broadly, yes. South America sees growth in astronomy, ophthalmology, laser diagnostics, plus expanding research institutions. Brazil and Argentina are highlighted.
Right.
The Middle East leverages it in astronomy, ophthalmology, laser applications, and defense aerospace, with Saudi Arabia and UAE mentioned.
Right.
And Africa's growth seems tied to increasing general investments in optical tech, particularly in astronomy, think the square kilometer array healthcare, and some industrial uses.
Yeah.
South Africa is noted there.
Fascinating. It's a truly global picture, even if the starting points vary. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the technology itself and its uses. How does the market break down by sensor type?
Good question. The report looks at different types. The dominant segment right now is expected to be common path interferometers.
Interferometers.
Yeah.
Right, they use light wave interference for precise measurements.
Exactly. And common path designs are really good for high-resolution imaging. Think astronomy, biomedical stuff, even semiconductor manufacturing. They help improve overall optical system performance.
Makes sense. And is there a type that's growing particularly fast?
Yes, that would be wavefront curvature sensors. Their rapid growth is tied to advances in lasers, the need for ever higher precision imaging, and again, vision correction technologies. They work slightly differently, measuring the curve of the light wave.
Interesting. So different tools for slightly different jobs driving growth. What about the applications? Where are these sensors actually being used the most?
Okay, application-wise, the biggest share currently belongs to laser beam characterization.
Which makes sense, given how many industries rely on precise lasers.
Totally. Aerospace, defense, healthcare, manufacturing, semiconductors. They all need to know exactly what their laser beams are doing. Quality control is key.
Right. But is there an application area that's expanding particularly quickly?
Yes. Microscopy and endoscopy. That segment is growing fast.
Oh, so medical and life sciences again.
Primarily, yes. Driven by rising demand for better medical diagnostics, research tools in life sciences, and also high-res industrial inspection, seeing things clearly at small scales.
Okay, and this ties into the end-use industries, doesn't it? You mentioned healthcare, aerospace.
Absolutely. When you look at end-use industries, healthcare holds the largest share. No surprise there, given the focus on ophthalmic diagnostics and laser eye surgeries. But the fastest-growing end-use sector is actually aerospace and defense.
Really? Faster than healthcare?
In terms of growth rate, yes. That's driven by the increasing need for high-precision optical systems. Think surveillance, targeting, space exploration, satellite monitoring.
Got it. Any other significant industries?
Oh, yeah. Industrial manufacturing is important. IT and telecommunication uses them. And even consumer electronics is listed as a sector.
Consumer electronics. Where would they fit in?
Potentially in things like augmented reality glasses, camera technology, maybe even advanced displays down the line. It's an emerging area.
Okay, so a really broad industrial base. Now, let's zoom out again. What are the fundamental market dynamics, the big drivers pushing this whole market forward?
Well, we've touched on some. Key drivers are definitely the advancements in adaptive optic systems, making them better and cheaper.
Right.
The increasing use in astronomy is a big one, correcting for that atmospheric blur. General technological innovation across the board and continued R&D investment are also crucial.
Makes sense. Are there things holding the market back at all? Restraints?
Yeah, a couple are mentioned. One is the high manufacturing cost. These are sophisticated devices, not cheap to make. And the other is stringent government regulations, particularly for medical devices, but potentially in other areas too, which can slow down adoption or increase development costs.
Okay, costs and regulations. Fair enough. What about key trends to watch? Things just starting to emerge?
Two big ones highlighted are the rising demand, specifically in biomedical imaging beyond just ophthalmology, like cellular level stuff,
Okay.
and the increasing use in automotive, especially for things like LiDAR and advanced driver assistance systems, and maybe, as we mentioned, consumer electronics.
Automotive. Interesting. So potentially in self-driving car tech.
That's definitely one potential application area for related optical sensing, yeah. Making sure the eyes of the car see clearly.
Fascinating. So this tech is really becoming quite pervasive. Who are the companies actually making these sensors? Is it a crowded field?
It's described as highly competitive. You've got a mix of global corporations and more specialized regional players.
Any names mentioned?
Yeah, the report lists several key ones like AKA Optic SAS, LPAO, they're known for adaptive optics, Boston Micro Machines, the big player Carl Zeiss Meditech AG, and Thor Labs.
Thor Labs, right. They're big in optical components.
They are. And interestingly, the report notes that just this year, January 2024, Thor Labs licensed some new tech called dual frequency comb spectroscopy.
Oh, what's the significance of that?
Well, it could open up new avenues for them, potentially using wavefront sensing principles in different ways for industrial or environmental imaging. Shows there's still innovation happening among the key players.
Right, so it's not a static field at all. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's try and synthesize this. What are the really key takeaways from this deep dive?
I think the biggest one is just that staggering growth projection. A CAGR over 21% globally is huge.
That really stands out.
It's driven by real needs, better healthcare, especially vision care, but also advancements in science like astronomy and technology like precision lasers and optics for defense and industry.
And while North America and Europe are the current leaders by size.
The growth rates in Asia-Pacific, South America, the Middle East, Africa are incredibly strong. APAC, in particular, looks set to become a huge market very quickly.
Absolutely. It feels like this is a technology whose time has really come, moving from niche uses into the mainstream across many sectors.
That's agreed.
So, for you listening, it's worth thinking about where this leads. How might this boom in wavefront sensing impact things you care about? Maybe it's more precise eye surgery for you or a relative.
Or maybe it's the incredible new images we'll get from telescopes using advanced adaptive optics. Or even new capabilities in manufacturing or the devices you use every day.
Exactly. It prompts a question, doesn't it? With this tech becoming so much more powerful and widespread, what completely new possibilities might it unlock in the next decade that we haven't even thought of yet?
That's the really exciting part. Where does this enable us to go next? Definitely something to mull over.
Indeed. If specific areas like biomedical imaging or maybe the APAC market caught your attention, definitely worth looking into more. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.